Hi guys, so welcome back to my Metropolitan Division preview. Today I'm going to be talking about the Columbus Blue Jackets, who I have fourth in the Metropolitan Division, first in the wild card spot, in the wild card spot. I'm going to explain why in a little bit. So last season they made the playoffs as a wild card team, and I believe they lost in round one to Washington. They were up, I believe, 2 games to nothing in the series and ended up losing. So I really like Columbus's team construction, but I wouldn't place them any higher than fourth, just because the uncertainty regarding to Artemi Panarin and his unwillingness to sign a contract, and the thought of Columbus might be trading him. So Panarin's obviously an amazing player. I'm going to talk about him a little bit later, but if there was more certainty regarding Panarin and Bobrovsky, then I probably would have put them second to Pittsburgh. Um, so speaking of Panarin, I think he's incredible by most goals above replacement models. He's a top five player. Just an elite transition player, only second to McDavid in my mind. Absolutely incredible player, elite 5-on-5 player as well as a power play presence. He's just incredible. I think he's criminally underrated. Um, I think he might be even a top 10 player in my opinion. That's how good he is. Um, Looking at their other forwards, I really like Pierre-Luc Dubois. Even going back to his Cape Breton days, I remember looking at his production when he was in his draft year right before the Leafs won the lottery, and his primary point production was just off the charts, and he had a really late birthday. So when I'm evaluating draft talent, I really look at their birthday, and I want to make sure that they're not too old and scale their production relative to their birthday. So I really wanted the Leafs to draft him, but they ended up winning the lottery and took Austin Matthews, which isn't too bad. So Cam Atkinson is a really good player that should bounce back. He didn't have the greatest season last year production wise, but he always produces pretty solid on ice results. Um, the center depth isn't horrible, but it's not the best. Um, the winger depth really dies off, however, after Cam Atkinson. I like Bjorkstrand. Obviously, he's a really good player, really good young player. Um, Nick Foligno's okay. I'm not sure he's a top line winger. I don't know if he's even a good second line winger. But there's nothing really elite after that. I mentioned their center depth. I really like the Riley Nash pickup. I thought he was really good for Boston last year. I even remember when the Leafs played the Bruins in the playoff series, and Riley Nash played first line center for that game that Patrice Bergeron was on. He played really well. Like, he's a really good defensive player. So with Dubois, Wenberg, and Riley Nash, it's not a bad 1-2-3 combination. Not elite by any means, but it's decent. On defense, obviously the Johnson Wensky is an incredible pairing. Probably a top three pairing, probably top two. I think Nashville edges them out a little bit if they stack probably Yosi and Ellis, or Yosi and Subban. Um, that's that's the only pairing I think of off the top of my head that would be considerably better than that. After that, the defense depth really dies off. After that, maybe Gabriel Carlson can do something. Maybe Dennis Savard can play well. Um, and then looking at their goaltending, Bobrovsky's, in my opinion, the best goalie in the league. So looking at their on-ice results in terms of Corsi 4, they were 10th in the NHL at 51.54. Corsi 4 per 60, 51.75. Um, 11th in the NHL. Corsi against per 60, 48.66, which is 10th in the NHL. So looking at their raw possession stats, they're a really good possession team. And it makes sense considering that the system that they play in the defense that they have, they can move up to their forwards really quick, and they have a lot of these kind of hard working forwards, which tends to lend itself to higher possession teams when you combine them with the level of talent that they have in defense. So looking at their goals for per 60, it was at 2.37, which is 10th, and goals against per 60 was 2.09, which is also 10th. So they're a really good offensive and defensive team, which is why I'd probably have them second in the Metropolitan Division if there was more certainty regarding Panarin, if he was going to stay long term, if they weren't going to. They came out and said that they weren't going to trade him, but obviously you can't guarantee that. In terms of expected goals, of course, they were tied for first with the Edmonton Oilers at 2.58 goals a game. Um, which, if you look at their heat map, which I'm going to put up on the screen, um, which is produced by HockeyViz.com. Shout out to them. Credit to them for the graphic. A lot of their chances come from that middle slot area, which is exactly where you want to be shooting to generate those expected goals. And obviously, with being a high possession team, you're going to get a lot of shot attempts on goal, and you're going to really limit the chances against, which comes to their expected goals against is actually 2.39, which means they're giving up a significant amount of high danger chances, or at least relative to their offense. And I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe it might be a system thing, but I know a guy like Jones was on my top 10 offensive defenseman list, and he's going to be on my top 10 two-way defenseman list, but neither Werenski or Jones are extremely solid defensively as good as they are offensively. Jones is a little bit better than Werenski, but defense isn't any of their strong suits per se. In terms of PDO, is roughly average 100.25, 100 if you recall is the average. So they weren't really an unlucky team. They weren't really a lucky team. So there should be no PDO regression coming up in the upcoming season. And in terms of penalty differential, um, they drew 17 more penalties than they took, which is 11th best in the NHL. So that's a really good thing, and it lends itself, that statistic, to the type of play style they have, which is really blue collar, workman type offense based on a heavy forecheck. So their plus player, or their most important player, Artemi Panarin, and he produced 21.3 goals above replacement according to Chance McCallum's goals above replacement model. He's an elite 5-on-5 contributor. As I said, he's in the top 5 percentile in terms of 5-on-5 offense, and they need to try and hang on to him in whatever way possible. Pay him, what he's worth, $10-11 million a season, because long term, because I really think that he's worth that. In terms of their player that needs to improve, I'm going to say Alex Wennberg needs to bounce back. He had a terrible year on the power play. I'm not sure how much power play time he actually got, but he needs to be more productive if given the opportunity, because his 5v5 stats actually got better than his breakout season, which was 2 years ago, allowing him that big contract extension. So, in conclusion, again, I have them fourth in the Metropolitan Division only because of the uncertainty regarding Panarin. If they resolve that issue and Panarin stays, then I think that they're the second best team in the Metropolitan Division. But with all that uncertainty, I can't say for sure right now. So, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next preview.